Hello all, thank you for joining this webinar. And this is the third session that we are having for OTT and OTT revenue. So once again, let me welcome each and every one of you for this webinar. So this webinar, we are going to see what is the potential of OTT market share that is right now in the industry that is happening. And then we will go through the agenda points one after the other. So in the agenda, we are going to see the potential of the OTT industry, then the revenue models that is largely prevalent in OTT. Then we are going to see the verticals, that is the industry verticals, which is applicable for OTT. Then we are going to see the key factors which determine the improvement of revenue. So these are the points that we are going to see in today's webinar. So let me go to the next slide. Yeah. So first of all, people have the basic question, right? Because OTT is all about making, the content reach the targeted audience and thereby to generate income or revenue. So the first question that naturally arises in the minds of people or entrepreneurs who want to start an OTT journey, they want to know, like, what is the size of the industry, whether what is the future of the industry, whether they can make an investment, or how they can test the waters in the OTT industry. So these will be the basic questions that will cross the minds of the entrepreneurs, right? So in order to just give a very, very small brief about the insight into the market share and the growth of OTT so far, you can see, as you can see in this slide, we've been the OTT industry have been growing in a very steady pace, and fortunately or unfortunately, because of the pandemic, it just started shooting through the roof. Because when then the options when the options were shut down for going to the traditional way of schools or visiting malls or theaters for entertainment, OTT paved the way where people can sit at home and consume or digest, the entertainment, or they want to learn. The schools, colleges, everything went through the online courses. So as you can see, from 2017 to until 2023, the growth has been steadily increasing, and the projection, you can see that it is going to go way beyond where we stand currently now. So far, it's going to be about the estimated revenue stands at about 30 billion. So I just put it in very simple terms. So instead of running into millions, I just top it up with billion. So it's going to be about close to 30 billion, right? And as of now, the traffic users, I mean, the paid subscribers, we're not talking about the general traffic that hits the OTT industry, but paid subscribers, that is people who are willing to pay and digest the content or consume the content, stands at about 3.9 billion users across the globe, right? So right now, the user penetration, as per the statistical data that is available with us right now, it stands at about 50% penetration, meaning there is still 50% to be tapped, and that 50% is where we are going to see the growth in the next 10 years or so. So just imagine the 30 billion is going to go to 60 billion, or maybe a little bit beyond that, or maybe 5% plus or minus on that aspect. So in order to to understand basically the industry, the data is right in front of you to see the potential of the OTT industry. So yes, and definitely you'll have some questions, right? For especially for the people who are thinking about venturing into OTT market, right? Please reserve your questions at the Q&A session so that I'll be glad to answer them. So let's go to the next slide. So here we are going to talk about revenue models in OTT. So basically, that is like, in general, we have three models of generating revenue. right? One is SVOD. SVOD is nothing. In plain words, it's a subscription video on demand. Example for this is Amazon Prime, Netflix, or Fitter for fitness apps. I mean, fitness OTT application. So this is based on the subscription. Just it's like, you have a library of content, right? Whether it is fitness, religious, or entertainment, or learning, you have a library, and you get a payment. Say, for example, $50 per month or 500 rupees for per month, and you give the entire content. I mean, the end user can come in and watch any content he or she wants in this particular model. So there is not going to be any ad related content, or I mean ad revenue generation, or transactional revenue generation here. It's purely on subscription model, right? So this will be applicable for OTT players who have a huge amount of content available with them, because that's where people tend to come back again and again, and subscription based video on demand is going to be helpful here, right? So the next is AVOD. AVOD is nothing but ad based video on demand, where the revenue is based on the ads, right? So now there is a concept also called as freemium, which is not mentioned here, but the freemium is like, both free and premium content. Now, how does that work? It's simple. I mean, like, there are contents which is free. That is the user need not pay for that, right? So it is available. But the catch here is that when they watch the content, the ad server will start playing ads in the video. Maybe at the beginning or the center, I mean, at the middle of the video or at the end of the video. So based on the strategy of the content owner or the broadcaster or the application owner, right? So that, the basically that is for creating a revenue from ads. So that is one part. Now freemium is like we give both free content and premium content. When there is a premium content, and you have the option of selectively paying for that content, that particular content. Say, for example, you have the launch of Matrix, right? Matrix new movie is going to come. Just imagine that, and that is a premium movie in your application, right? And you made it as a premium payment method for that. So when people click on that particular video, they will be taken to the payment gateway where they're going to pay only for that content. Say, for example, $10 or $20, whatever the price that you set. So once they make the payment for that content, the ad will not play for that particular content. So this is the concept of having both free content and premium content. So I believe that you have a fair idea now on this particular part. AWOD, here in AWOD platforms, I mean applications, we need to integrate ad servers basically. There are a lot of ad servers which will pay. I mean, the income is generated based on the number of impressions that is being made for viewing for that particular content, right? Say, for example, I'll just give you an example how YouTube works, right? So YouTube gives a payout. The calculations made like this. I mean, for every 1,000 impressions or views, $1 is paid. $1 calculation is taken into account, right? So imagine 10,000 views are made for that content in YouTube. The content owner gets $10, right? So 1 million is going to be $1,000. So that's the basic calculation of how YouTube does the payout. And I mean, in YouTube, the major chunk goes to YouTube, the revenue, right? Only the content owners get only what to say, like a very, very less share. Say, for example, 10% or 15% of the total revenue that gets garnered for that impressions. When you have your own application, you get the entire share for yourself. Say, for example, instead of $1 per thousand impressions, you may get about $15 per thousand impressions, right? So that's like 10 times or 15 times more revenue from frame award. So that's about a little insight about award. Now coming to TVOD, TVOD is nothing but transactional video on demand. It's very simple. I mean, like in a particular platform, you have hundreds of thousands of content, and you just make those content, which you think people will buy. Some of the content, premium content, which people will buy, which is not available in the open market, right? Particularly in YouTube. So in those content, you can set the pricing, and they, per movie or per e-learning content or per religious or whatever content that we are going to post, or we're going to have, people are going to pay only a very minimal amount, right? And then they're going to watch it. In this particular model, they need not pay, and instead of paying $500, they can just pay $20, watch the content, and they can be happy about that. And again, when you add more content, they're going to come back for that particular transactional video. So this is about TVOD. And one more very important difference between SVOD, AVOD, TVOD is that SVOD is going to be a recurring billing, meaning that you're going to subscribe every month. The payment gateway is going to raise a request and get the payment from the user. But TVOD and AVOD is not like that, right? Because AVOD it's free, and people are going to, I mean, the revenue is generated through ads, so the end user is not going to make the payment for you. As for TVOD, they are going to pay only for that particular content, and they are going to come back again when you have a niche content happening, right? So this is another very important difference between SVOD, AVOD, and TVOD. And in the coming slides, I will tell you. I mean, in the I think in the next slide, when we talk about the key factors, I will tell you how this will be, how to take a decision to choose which pricing model will suit you the best. So let's okay, just a minute. All questions, I think you can make a note of that. Yeah. So the poll questions is, I'll just list it out for you. So what kind of monetization model would you choose? So advertising or subscription based or transactional video or hybrid. Hybrid is nothing but AVOD plus SVOD. Maybe TVOD also can be there. Maybe if you want to customize that, if you're having a platform already or planning to have a platform, then you can think about that as well. So next, going to the next slide. So here, again, people, many of the questions that we received last time, right? I mean, like many of our customers or leads or general audience who wants to get into OTT are asking us a simple question, which is like, what are the industry verticals where OTT is applicable, right? I mean, basically, what type of industries which is applicable. As far as OTT is concerned, any vertical, I'll tell you, instead of going into each point, I'll tell you very simply, OTT is applicable for any industry, right? Because any industry, say for example, if it is automobile, you can automate the process of learning, right? When you have a new technology comes into place, you need to do a mass uh, e-learning for your employees, right? Their OTT will help you. Definitely, they'll help you. And when you want to upskill your workforce, there, OTT will help you, because the application where we are going to run, where you can have millions of users, thousands of millions of users logging at the same time, and they can upskill themselves with whatever content that you're going to provide them. You can have tutorials, video tutorials. After the video tutorials, you can have question and answers, and based on the question and answers, they can be scaled, right, from 1 to 10 or 1 to 100, and based on the score that they are going to get, they get certified, right? So that will be really helpful. So based on this, OTT is applicable for all the industries, irrespective of any kind of discretion. Just to summarize, I mean, just to mention few industries, I'll go with entertainment. Entertainment is self-explanatory. I don't think that I need to elaborate here. I mean, like, it's purely based on movies, web series, documentaries, short films, stuff like that. And here the preferred revenue models, right? I told you, like in the last slide, here you can based on your strategy, you can set up particular pricing model here. For example, if you're just venturing into OTT market, right, you just have about a fair, 20 to 50 movies or web series with you, and you want to try it out, right? So basically, you will go with the AWOD model first, because you want to see how the application is performing, how the traffic is trickling in, how your marketing strategy is working out, and based on the marketing strategy, how the traffic is hitting your application, and what is the heat signature that is happening. Say, for example, the users are going to come in, and where in which particular page of the application the users or the customers are taking more time, meaning spending more time, and which are the content they are liking, right? Because it's all based on the target audience. Because you have a movie, you choose a particular age group, right? You put them on a bucket, and you expect that bucket to come to your application. So based on that, you can study the market. I mean, literally go with AWOD, and slowly you can add TWOD to it, or you can just directly go to SWOD. If you see that there is a good amount of stickiness, customer stickiness happening with your application, then definitely you can go with SWOT. Or if you think that, okay, I have a fair amount of mix of content, then you can go with TWOD as well. So it depends upon the study of the market, the analytics that you're going to get, and based on that, you choose and define the pricing model. Because another important factor that you have to see, that with whatever OTT player that you're going to go with, one of the important factors that you have to keep in mind is to make sure that that particular application is scalable, right? And also, the architecture should not limit the application, rather it should allow the application to expand, meaning, again, you can add any amount of modules or any kind of changes, etc. So the next industry we're going to talk about is the e-learning. Like I had mentioned earlier, the pandemic really opened up. In fact, rather than opened up, it just uh, sped up the whole process of OTT as far as e-learning is concerned. In the last 2 years, many OTT e-learning OTT platforms have been growing exponentially well. Say, for example, Udemy. You have Udemy, like they have about they're making about close to $30 million, I believe. I'm not sure exactly about the numbers, but they are doing really good. You have Coursera, which is doing brilliant. You have LinkedIn e-learning portals. So everybody is jumping into the bandwagon of e-learning, because the scope here is unlimited. E-learning, I mean, like, even fitness is associated with that particular path. Then you have the sports vertical, where people are having particular sports OTT, where Say, for example, for football alone, there are OTT platforms which imparts, the tutorial for improving the football skills. Likewise for tennis, likewise for chess. So it just goes on and on and on. The next vertical is fitness. I mean, it's similar to sports as well. Yoga comes into picture, and gymnastics and other sports activities also are coming into picture here as far as fitness is concerned. Next comes the religious. It may be surprising for many people that how am I going to make money out of religious? But believe me, there are religious institutions which is growing exponentially well based on the religious OTT platforms. Maybe after this session, I can send you some of the OTTs which is doing good on that. So again, I think you may have some questions here, and we will take it up at the Q&A session. So let me move to the next slide. Poll questions. Before that, we'll go to the poll questions, and the poll questions is, which industry does the content you want to stream belong to? So if you let us know about this particular poll question, we will be able to help you or guide you right towards that particular question. Yeah, I hope you have taken note of that. So let us move to the next slide. So this is a very important slide because this is where you have to keep focus, right? Just imagine that you have partnered, or you have developed, or you bought a license for an OTT platform, and you started running it, and or just seriously thinking about, or seriously discussion with the OTT partners, right? Or starting the OTT venture. Then these are some of the very important points that you need to keep in mind and explore on these lines, because end of the day, the objective here is to give, is to generate revenue, right? Because that is going to be the bread and butter, and that is going to allow you to build further. So the first and very, very first point, which is very important, is the application itself, right? So you need to have an application, right, which should be user friendly, and the performance of that application should be really good, and the navigation, when the user is going to log in, right from the moment of logging in, from the navigation into the pages or the categories or the genres, or searching the content, landing on that particular page, and then enjoying the content, or going through the content, and then exiting, right? In between, you have the payment gateway module as well. So the payment gateway should function seamlessly. So all these angles are pretty important. Just imagine a user is going to come in, right? And you have latency issues, or you have loading issues. It's taking some time, right? 1 minute or 2 minutes. Nobody is going to come back again, right? That is very important. So the performance of the application is complementing the revenue, right? So please make sure that the application that you're going to own or you're going to partner with is really, really good right from the architecture level, right? That is very important. And also make sure that it is scalable, right? Maybe initially you were just talking about 50,000 users, or maybe 100,000 users, but as you grow, right, then the application should allow you to scale up. Say for example, for the first quarter, you have about 20,000 users or subscribers, traffic, right? And the next quarter you have about 50,000, and the next quarter you have about 100,000. So the application should allow you to grow, should allow you to handle the traffic seamlessly. along with the, like I said, the navigation, the performance, the loading, the distribution of the content. All these points should complement each other, and there should be no compromise whatsoever, because all these points are directly relational to the revenue. Because every paid customer, when they have a very good experience in the application, they stick to the application, they stick to your brand, right? When they have some certain issues, then they, once they go, right, even, you do a lot of marketing activities to try to bring them in, even then the people will always have that negative, vibe in their mind, stating that, okay, that was not a good experience for them. So make sure that you have everything in place of all the points that I said, working in tandem and complementing each other without any compromise. That is very, very important, right? So after this particular part, now these points are going to come in. The 8 points that we are seeing in the screen is going into the, is coming into the picture, right? Just imagine that, yes, we've launched a good application. It's good. The performance is good. It's scalable. The navigation is good. The customer is having a very seamless experience with the application. Now, right. Now, what are the points that we need to improve or focus on, right, to retain the customers, right, or to penetrate more or deep into the industry, and how to create the stickiness. So all these points has to be taken into consideration. So the first is like, you need to create an environment where people come with a social interaction, like likes and interests, because this is very, very, very important, because this is going to allow you to see, because this is very simple. It's analytics, right? So when you see the likes and interests happening for a particular content or a category or genre, or a particular activity happening in a particular page, right, you know that people are more focused or more interested towards that. Meaning, when you see the data, right, in the dashboard in front of you, you can take a business decision based on that. You can see that, okay, this particular category is doing fine and this category is not doing fine, right? Or you can do a comparison, which is better, which is not better. So whatever is not better, either you can remove it, or if you have a gut feeling that, that is going to, that can be, improved, then you will see that what are the things that needs to be done to improve that. So next is the very important thing is the revenue model. So revenue model, this is very, very sensitive, because people are not going to, open up the wallet just like that, right? So if you are just venturing into the, for the first time, then we would suggest that you go with the A word, because that will allow you to analyze the market, at least for 1 quarter, right? How the traffic behaves, how the user behaves. You have the analytic tools in place. You see how the traffic is going to, getting in, how they navigate, which are the areas in which they are focused, which are the areas, which needs improvement, or gray areas. So all these data is pretty important, and for that, in order to study that, is better you go with a what. Say, suppose you are already an established broadcaster, right? You have a big name or brand name with you, and you have a huge library, then you can go with SWOT. Or, if you think about, you have a mixed match of content, like both new and old and, retro, you can go with freemium. In order to go deep into this, definitely, it depends upon case to case, right? So maybe, if you have any questions on this, we will take it up separately, because we cannot keep a same scale for all the OTT platforms. Please remember this, which is very important, because your business strategy is different, right? It's not the same. If that is going to be the case, then we need to sit and discuss, go deep in regards to the content, geography. And there are a lot of factors like this. Your budget basically. Then you have to think about the target audience and the content part as well, because you need to have a budget for content acquisition as well, right? Or content creation for that matter. So the next point is the in order to improve the revenue, you need to target apart from a particular bucket of audience, right? Whether it is based on geography or whether it is based on the individual traits, you need to decide on the factors based on this. Say, for example, I'm talking about yoga, right? Just imagine that I'm running an OTT platform. Now, if I go with only the uh, adult yoga practices, and I've captured that market, right? Then I can think about going for the kids. Then I can think about going for the senior citizens, right? So that is how you can go one step ahead or one step up. So that's about that. And strategizing your advertisement efforts is very, very important, because many people have the notion, right? Even some of the big names think that, okay, I come into the market, I have my own application, people are going to come in. That is not the case. You need to run a separate campaign. You need to have a strategy for your advertisement. Only then people are going to know that you exist, right? So you need to have a lot of angles into it, because you have digital marketing, you have online marketing, you have the traditional marketing. So based on the budget, based on your target, say for example, you just want to go with online marketing, right? Or digital marketing, then you allocate a particular budget for that and you run it, and make sure that you set measurable, achievable targets for that. Say for example, your objective, I'm just giving an example, right? So say for example, your objective is to bring 50,000 users. It's a very small number. Believe me, it's a very, very small number. But keeping the first step, it has to be measurable and it has to be achievable. So 50,000. So what are the areas that you're going to target? What is the campaign that you're going to define? So it's a totally different subject altogether. Bigger subject. So all these angles you have to think and you have to strategize and then get into the marketing aspect. So that at least when you start executing it, at least in a month or so, you should be able to achieve that. So the next point we're going to talk about is the both live and on-demand streams. That should be there in your OTT platform. It is. I would rather say that it is not a must, because it depends upon business need, and also it depends on the strategy, right? But if it is there, then it is an added advantage. That's all. So because live and on-demand streams of the mix match is like it's not completely mandatory, but having that should be good for you. The next point is like multi-device compatibility. This is very, very important, because uh, every each and every one of us know the importance of mobile devices, tabs, and other devices. That's happening, because right when the pandemic hit us hard, we knew that we were not consuming not only through the traditional methods like TV or big screens, but rather most of the content consumption happened through the mobile devices, right? Say for example, you're just sharing a video, right, in WhatsApp. So you can imagine the kind of virality that happened through mobile phones, right? So there's a huge potential here. So whenever you plan for an OTT, please plan for the mobile devices. I'll just list out some of the devices. All the devices. You need to plan for web. You need to plan for iOS mobile, Android mobile, Apple TV, Android TV. You need to plan for Roku. You need to plan for LG OS. You need to plan for Samsung OS. So all these, along with tabs as well. I missed that out. I'm sorry about that. So plan for tabs. So all these devices should be covered with your application. because if you don't have mobile, then you are losing a huge chunk of customers. So ensure that you plan for the devices that mentioned. Since it is an important point, I'll reiterate once again. You need to plan for web, iOS app, Android app, mobile app, Apple TV, Android TV, Samsung TV, LG TV, Roku TV, iPads, and tabs. So please make sure that you cover all these devices. The next point is like offering loyalty programs. This is basically to create the stickiness or customer retention, right? So that people know that when you give them points, they always know that so many points is lying with your application, and that will create a stickiness, right? So make sure that you offer loyalty programs to make sure that you not only retain the customers but making sure that they come back again and again. That can be in various forms, like giving discounts or giving a premium content, or allowing them to raise points and share it with their friends, something similar to that, in those lines. And the next and last but very key factor is collect revenue stats. I would say stats, you know all the stats, like how the users are behaving in the application, what type of users are coming in which bucket they are going to fall, and which geography they are going to come from, which devices they come, right? iOS app, Android app, or LG TV or Android TV. So what are the devices they are going to come? These stats are very important. And also you need to know, like, what are the contents that is doing well under which category, so that you can go and focus on that particular category. You can add more content in that particular category, because you know very well, because the data is going to back you up, stating that you are going to improve in that particular line, right? So that is very important. And then comes the revenue, because if you add and connect all these dots, then definitely that is going to point to the revenue stats. Because if there is improvement in this particular area, whatever I just said now, right, is going to directly be proportional to the revenue stats. When people like the content, when people like the navigation, when people like the performance, when people have a very good experience with the application, they tend to come back and they tend to pay, right? So when that happens, then definitely you can see the growth and you see the revenue stats there. So make sure that you get as much analytical data with you as possible, right? And just to add to that, this particular point for analytics, there are a lot of artificial intelligence based analytics happening. Either you can integrate them, or you go with a SaaS model for them, just to study your application, like I said, right, how it behaves, how it performs, everything. So make sure that you cover this up. So I think we've spoken not in brief, but touched very sensitive points that is going to really help you with OTT. So I think that we can conclude, but just for your understanding, that this is about some of the customers that we have with CONTUS VPlayed. So all these customers are doing great with our application. So now we have the Q&A session. Please feel free to ask any questions, so that I'll be obliged and honored to answer them. And I hope I have not rushed. Okay, we got the first question from Nitin Chandra. The question is, can we use AWOD plus TWOD together? Yes, of course, yes, you can. Definitely, yes. Definitely. That's a good combination. I think we touched that point. Yes, we can. Can we speak? I think that option is not there. Maybe you can mail us to bd@contest.in. You can see in the screen. For more queries, we have bd@contest.in. And still, if you feel like dialing us, please let us know. Then we'll definitely talk to you. Okay, again we have a question from Nitin Chandra. What's the cost of running a small OTT platform to start with a few films? Okay, I think you're just asking about the application cost. It purely depends on the application that you're going to buy or develop. It starts anywhere from $10,000 to, like if you want to have all the platforms, it may go up to $100,000, $150,000. It purely based on your budget, Nathan. Okay, what is the cost of any OTT app? Again, it depends upon the application provider, right? I think this question is by Asif. Yes, Asif. It purely depends upon the application provider. So the cost of, you need to check with the individual providers. That will be the right answer for that. The next question: can we run OTT with VPS Cloud? Yeah, you can. But the thing is that you need to check with the OTT provider whether this possibility is there. As far as we are concerned, right? CONTUS VPlayed is concerned, yes, we have the ability to run it in VPS Cloud. Yeah, that question was asked by ARS. Okay, the next question is: can the OTT system remove adverts within the content based on the viewer subscript selection? This question is asked by Ashok Naidu. Within the content based on the viewer subscriber selection. I mean, you are going to decide, Ashok, right? Whether you're going to run the ad or not going to run the ad, because as far as our solution is concerned, we have a provision in the back end when the content is being uploaded. We give the leverage to the content owners to run an ad or not run an ad. So that control is there with us. So the next question is: does the cost depend on the app or the data downloaded? Okay, there are two questions here, Asif. You are talking about the infrastructure cost and the application cost, right? Application cost, again, it depends on the provider, whether you choose to buy a white label solution or you're going with a SaaS model, right? Software as a service model. So if that is going to be the case, it's going to be different because you're going to pay a monthly fees or you're going to pay a lump sum amount and you're going to own the application. As for the data download, it purely depends on the infrastructure cost. Say, for example, server cost, ingress, egress, right? CDN charges, that is different. That's totally different. So the next question is generic traffic very low for OTTs? And if so, how important is advertising? Amitabh Ghosh, that's a good question. So basically, like I told you, many of us had, even we, personally speaking, I had 15 years back, right, when we never knew how the internet was working. So we were all under the assumption that I have a domain or some application online, people will come just like that. It's not like that. You need to have a marketing strategy. You need to have an advertising strategy to pull the crowd towards your application. Or else, believe me, if it is a known brand, at least you can see a trickle in traffic. But if the name is not big or if it's not known to the general public, then definitely traffic will not happen. You need to have a marketing strategy and advertising for that. Okay, do you have an office in Mumbai? By Nitin Chandra. Unfortunately, no, Nitin. We are headquartered in Chennai, and we have a couple of offices in the United States. So maybe you can visit Chennai, or maybe we can, on an invitation, we may come to Mumbai. So the next question is, what can be starting cost of SaaS model monthly by ARS? Since it depends upon the plan that you're going to choose, whether you're going to go the startup model, or you're going to go with the enterprise model, or you're going to go with an SME model. So based on that, the pricing will differ. Say for example, the starting may have maybe about 1,500 to $1,500 per month, and it may climb up. So it depends on the plan that you're basically going to choose. So the next question is, how quickly can channel be included or removed from OTT platform? Backend speed versus display on. You said okay. If this option is provided in the backend, it should be just a few clicks. That's all. I think another question is there. I mean, backend speed versus it'll happen in a jiffy, Ashok. Because as far as our application is concerned, we developed it in three-tier architecture along with microservices, right? So it'll happen in a jiffy, maybe 2 seconds, hardly 2 seconds. Do you have a partner in South Africa? Ashok, again, this is by Mr. Ashok. No, we don't have a partner in South Africa, Ashok. Maybe if you want to talk about that, we can take it up separately. We'll discuss on that. Next question by ARS is there free live channels available to add? Yeah, there are some live channels which is available for free. You can just Google it out and you'll know that. Basically, that'll be free feed, right, available on the net. The next question is, I had interacted with some app development and they were selling app. I did not buy as I'm worried about the performance and long term. I mean, performance if subscribers. Yes, this again, I think we discussed. I mean, I outlined this because scalability. This is nothing but scalability. Today, you have about 25,000 users or 50,000 users. Not a problem, right? Application is able to handle. That's fine. But as the subscription base grows, right, the traffic is growing, then the application should allow you to scale up, right? That is a serious issue, uh, but you need to check on that. You need to check the architecture. If you are not a technical person, that you need to have someone technically sound on your side to check on the architecture, to check on the server infrastructure, to check on the scalability part, whether it is running on microservices, on pods, right? All those things you need to check, because if you make a mistake there, then definitely there will be a very big impact in the future. So the next question is, does your solution cater for online creation of programming advertising campaigns done by advertising? Okay, this question is, I'll put it this way. See, application is different, ad serving is different, right? But you are going to integrate both of them. That will be the best option for you. Or else, if you want to customize that, you I mean, like, you can have your own advertisement module, built on the application. It's purely a business decision for you, whether you want to take time, build it from scratch for down the line for 6 months or 8 months or 1 year, or you go with an existing ad server and integrate that with your solution. But many enterprises will prefer to build from scratch. They will not go with third-party ad servers. But if it is a SME, they'll prefer to go with ad servers, already existing ad servers, because purely based on cost aspect. Enterprises will not do that because they don't want to share the data, or they don't want any infringements happening. So there is a distinction there. So So based on your business requirement, based on your budget, you need to take a call on that. Recommendation engine do you run by Ashok? We are running Google's recommendation engine, Ashok. And our solution is compatible for any kind of recommendation engine. The only criteria that we look for is that particular recommendation engine should be able to give us APIs. If they are able to give APIs, then definitely we can integrate. Can we have a more elaborate webinar by ourselves? Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely you'll have questions, many questions. You can outline that to us, then definitely we will answer that. And I want to tell this: we are keeping this webinar, in a kind of short time, right? A 20 minutes session or 30 minute session, because we don't want to, bore, right? We don't want to bring, kind of make it look bad, or we don't want to look kind of, stretchy or boring. We don't want to do that. So that's the reason we are consciously keeping it in a very short span of time. So you have any questions, please let us know. We'll definitely get back to you. So the next question is by Amitava Ghosh. Is the legal requirements lower for OTT compared to mainstream? Yes, absolutely. Because as of now, we don't have any kind of legal obligations, right? But of course, there are certain fundamental lines which we should not cross, right? Which we are all aware. I mean, whatever the as a normal citizen of our country, we are not supposed to do certain things, right? Illegal activities, something like that. So we should make sure that we are not crossing those lines. Apart from that, you can definitely have your own OTT. That's the beauty of it, because that's the reason why people are breaking away from the traditional method, because that is kind of monopoly, right? So you have content, that you have an opportunity, but you're not able to climb up the ladder because it's reserved only for few people. But online, it's not like that. You are the boss, right? You define your terms. So that's the beauty of it, Amitabh. So the next question by Ashok is your solution cloud only based or hybrid one? On-site CDN network. Yeah, ours is like hybrid, but depending upon your infrastructure, we need to evaluate that. And then, because it's going to take you know certain man hours for us to deploy that in your on-site server, right? So we do it, and we've done for several of our customers as well. But deploying it in your server, that is your infrastructure, it's not going to be as easy as how we deploy that in cloud, because you need to have an elaborate system in place, and we need to check on that, and then we will deploy that. Next question is your website, please. Yeah, our website is www. I think we can type it. CONTUS.com. Yeah. I'm just typing it for you, Asif. CONTUS.com. And once you go to CONTUS.com, you have to go to VPlayed.com. I've pinged you. How to reach out to you for business inquiry? It's mentioned in the. I mean, we have mentioned that in the slide. It's bd@contus.in. Thank you, Asif. I think if you have any other questions, please raise it, and I'll be glad to answer that. Well, yeah, I'll wait for another 2-3 minutes so that you can throw any questions. Okay, we got a new question from Deepika Ram. Is there scope to configure free trials? Depends on the solution that you're going to choose, whether it is going to be SaaS model. In SaaS model, yes. But if it is going to be a white label solution, then you can have a POC. Deepika, I hope I answered the question. Is there a dashboard to upload the content as we are creative team and not technical? Yes, of course, Asif. Yes, it's pretty simple. I mean, as far as our application is concerned, right? It's pretty straightforward. It's just a few clicks. That's all. Adding the content is just like it's just like very very simple. And there is no need for you to have any technical background to upload the content. I hope I answered the question. And also adding adverts and intro. Yes, yes, it is pretty easy, pretty, very, very easy actually. All you have to do is choose the video in the backend, and you have to choose the spot where you have to insert the ads. That's all. And you save it, and it's going to run. That's all. It's pretty simple. You need not open several windows, or you need not have several logins to do one activity after the other. The entire activity, like for the adding adverts in intervals, will not take more than 1 minute. And at the same time, in real time, it'll hit the server and the ads will start playing. Will the tool produce stats? Yeah, we have inbuilt statistics. We've built in inbuilt stats also in our application, and some of the basic stats like views, geography, and revenue stats is all available. Most liked videos. We will need for marketing. Oh, okay, okay, got it. That's good. You should have that, yes. Thank you, Asif. We have one question by Ashok, which is, does your solution cater for interactive adverts where the viewer can elicit an action, buy, share, like, recommend, etc.? In the default solution, we don't have it, but this is a customizable point that you're asking, and it can be customized for you. I will connect with your team. Yeah, sure, Asif. We will welcome that. Sure. I think that's it. We have no more questions. We can wind up, and once again, thank you very much for all the joinees. It was a pleasure and honor to be conducting this webinar for you. I'm sure that some questions may pop up in your mind after some time. Don't worry, just email us and we will get back to you with a very, very broader brief on the questions. Thank you. Thank you all. You have a great day. Bye bye.